No, not this one. This one.
This one?
Yeah. Like it.
Okay, we are live. Day 383. Today we're going to analyze a creative finance deal because yesterday I saw a comment from Artistically Aspiring. They left a comment on here. Can I do a video explaining the entry fee and how much is the entry fee? How much is too much entry fee when it's structuring a Subto deal? So today I got an email for a Subto deal. Let's bring it up. This is a property in...
Hi.
Hi. Good job. So just say hi.
Hi.
Yeah, you want to say hi?
Yeah.
Say hi. Say hi.
Hi.
Good job. Zoe.
What is it?
All right, and then this is 10311 Crystal View, University City, Texas 78148. Purchase price $286,000. Mortgage of 4.87 with a 3% seller carry interest rate. So your total monthly payment is $2,035. 4-bed, 2.5 bath, 2,485 square feet. Let's see, what else do we do? There is your entry fee, and this is completely determined by either the seller and a wholesaler. Usually, a wholesaler has to charge at least $10,000 of assignment to make up for all of the work that they have done in order to actually get the deal locked up on a contract, because they incur a bunch of expenses, right? From marketing to leads, hiring cold calls, etc. Now, arrears usually is something that's a little bit more fixed. If there are arrears, usually it's because someone has fallen behind their mortgage. So this is how much money they owe to the bank if it's a subject to deal to get it back up to current so that you can actually sell the property and get it reinstated. Now, a subject to deal means that you're buying the property subject to the existing financing. That usually means you are buying the property and you are taking over ownership on the property, but you are taking over the payments under underlying loan without the loan actually changing names, right? So the person that owns the property is still going to be the same. Okay. Now, the cashier seller or the agent, usually sometimes if it's on the market property, the agent's going to want to get compensated for getting listed in the first place. And if you don't want them to block your transaction, you probably should compensate them, right? It might not be the full commission, but it should at least be something. And now the cash to seller, usually that's negotiated, right? So usually when you see a subject to hybrid deal, usually that is a result of someone trying to maximize their purchase price. So I'm going to assume that they would not get $286,000 for this property if they were to just try to sell on the open market. The advantage of buying this property subject to is because, well, what? There is an underlying loan for 4.87%. And then on top of that, the seller also gets to make a little bit of money by financing the equity portion of it, the $68,503 at 3% interest. And there's a balloon of 10 years, so it's going to amortize over 30 years, but it's all going to come due, whatever the principal balance is, in 10 years. So we're going to do this. We're going to do this deal, and we're going to analyze this deal all together. Okay? So let's go ahead and plug in some numbers here. 10311 Crystal View. So let's look at this property. I assume this isn't a bad rental. I mean, you're going to turn this rental. I mean, there's some flooring that you might want to turn into LVP. So some of the bedrooms are in carpet. So you could turn them into things. But otherwise, it looks pretty much rent ready. Maybe it's just half a square footage LVP, half a square footage to be turned into, to be painted. Let's use that word. So now that I got that number in here, what I'm going to do is I can look up the market rents. To look at the market rents, I'm going to go to affordablehousing.com. I'm going to the owner section. I'm going to go to the market rent estimator. And I'm plugging the address, plugging bedroom count. And now you're going to see that for 25 units within a 0.64 mile radius, the average rent is $1,970. All right. $1,970, that's, guess what? That's below your monthly payment number. So the question of how much entry fee is too much entry fee, in this scenario, it doesn't even matter. Because if your goal is to cash flow, and again, everyone's strategy is different. This is not investment advice. I'm not soliciting any investments on this call. Your goal is to figure out whether I'm going to cash flow. And then the entry fee just factors in on what your cash and cash return percentage looks like. So let's say you want a 10% return on your investment. Well, that's when the entry fee matters, right? If your entry fee is too high and that knocks down your cash and cash return, well, then that is how high, or that is an entry fee that is too high if it doesn't meet the criteria. So let's go ahead and plug in these numbers so you guys can see how to actually plug in a DOD deal. So I'm going to go in right here. Where is this? Go make sure I connect to the chat if people have questions. Okay. So $286,000. 286,000. For my rehab calculator, I'm going to my rehab calculator spreadsheet. Again, this property was 2,485 square feet. So for my painting, I'm going to equals 2,485 divided by 2. Same thing for my LVP equals 2,485 divided by 2. This means that I am assuming that I need to replace the flooring on half the home and I need to paint about half the home. Okay. I got $500 for landscaping, just in case there's something I need to keep nice and tidy until it gets rented out. Set aside $1,500 for the roof in case there's anything I cannot see from the photos. I got 2 toilets probably 3 toilets I'm replacing with higher pressure flush toilets in this scenario, just so I can avoid those clogged toilet calls. So that gives me about 20 grand rehab. Okay. With a 20 grand rehab, my rent right here, that as you saw from affordablehousing.com, was what? 1970. So I'm going to equals 1970. All right. Using that as my rent. Now, obviously, you can look at HUD FMR. You can try to figure out what other rent ceilings there are. But I have covered that tremendously in very, very big detail. If you just look at some of our past lives, you can see how I talked about the rent reasonableness test, comparing the HUD FMR versus the market rate. And in a scenario, usually I'm just going to go with the market rent that's right here listed on affordablehousing.com for brevity purposes. Okay, so let's go ahead and plug in the rest of our numbers. If I go in and look at my loan details, okay, what is my primary loan? My primary loan right here is a balance of $189,557. $189,557. That goes into K6. The interest rate here is 4.87. 4.87. That goes into K7. The maturity date is 10/1/49. So I'm going to do 10/1/19 because that's 30 years before. I'm assuming it's a 30-year mortgage. So that's what I'm doing. Okay. And now I have a seller financing piece. The seller is financing 68,503 at 3%. 68,503 at 3%. 30-year loan with a 10-year balloon. 10-year balloon is going to go into right here in K21. All right. So now that I got my numbers in here, I need to put in my entry fee. So what's my entry fee? Entry fee is right. Cash to seller is $17,940. So it's going to go to E19, $17,940. And then for there's no arrears for commissions or assignment fee is $10,000. Okay, that's not it. Usually they don't include closing costs. So your closing cost is usually about 2.5%. So I'm gonna leave that right in here. And I got my renovation. So in my opinion, my true entry fee is the sum total of everything for it to get ready, which is about $55,000 this scenario. That's the sum. With that being said, let me go ahead and calculate the rest of my numbers. So for this property, the total monthly payment is $2,035, which includes the seller care. $2,035. So in B28, I'm going to do equals 2,035. I'm going to subtract the principal portion of the subject to loan, the interest portion of the subject to loan, the principal of the seller financing piece of the principal, and the interest portion of the seller financing piece. That gives me a total escrow amount of $743.61, which covers my property taxes and my insurance. Now I'm going to add another $30 because this already includes my insurance. But if I'm moving this property from a primary residence property to a investment property, I'm going to add $30 because I know that an insurance company is going to view a investment property as a little bit more risky. So I'm going to add extra $30 to be a little bit more conservative about my monthly numbers. Then I'm going to set aside 10% of my rents every single month for maintenance, right? This is for a roof that I know is going to get replaced in 15, 20 years. This is for the HVAC unit that I know is going to get replaced every 10, 15 years. This is for the water heater that's going to get replaced every 10, 15 years. Right? This money doesn't belong to you. So you got to put aside this money every single month because otherwise you're going to be overstating your profitability because you underestimate your expenses. Then I got 10% for property management and I got 5% for vacancy. Okay. At 5, assuming all these numbers are staying constant, my net profit or net loss in this scenario, again, assuming I can rent this property out for 1970, I'll be losing negative 588. So this is what I mean by the entry fee not being worth it, right? So let's assume everything else stays constant. Okay, let's do 1970. In this scenario, I'm losing minus 588 a month. That's a negative 12.7% return. That's assuming your purchase price is $286,000 and your rehab is about 20 grand. Okay, down payment is 50. Your entry fee in this insurance is $55,000, and your mortgage rate was roughly around 4.87.
Daddy,
Yes, sir?
I want to go here.
Can we go to Costco?
Yeah.
Okay, we can go to Costco. We'll go next week.
I want to watch this one.
Okay, that's fine. You can watch it. Okay, and then finally, what I want to do is, well, to answer the question of how much entry fee is too much entry fee, I think the best way to talk about a scenario is we have to increase the rent so that we can actually generate a positive cash on cash return for this to be even a consideration, right? Again, not investment advice. My strategy is I don't want to have negative cash flow deals. There's some people in the world that might want, okay, if as long as I can break even, if I'm in a cash flow positive, if I'm in a pretty high appreciating market, then I'm okay with it. Okay. Well, all right, here we go. This is going to be good. So let's assume I increase my rent to $3,500, a lot higher, right? But let's just assume it's a different market. In this scenario, I would be positive cash flow, $560. Okay. My entry fee, remember, is made up of my cash to seller, my assignment, my closing costs, and my renovations reserve. This is what I consider the true entry fee because it includes the renovations for you to actually get the property done, up and running. $55,511. So at $55,511 for my entry fee, my cash and cash return is 12.1%. But if my target return is 10%, well, what happens to my cash and cash return number? So follow what happens. Follow what happens in E9 as I increase my assignment fee. What if this is $15,000? Great. What if it's $20,000? So if I want to have a target of 10%, my entry fee cannot be more than $65,500. Okay, that is too high of an entry fee to answer your question directly. But that's assuming all these other considerations, right? That's assuming your principal, your subject to loan is the same. That's assuming your seller financing fees terms are the same. That's assuming your property taxes didn't go up and insurance didn't go up from what our prior estimate is. That's also assuming there weren't any other expenses that we didn't know about, right? What if the renovations went up, right? So this is the perfect way to think about, like, okay, what is my maximum entry fee if my personal return criteria is 10%? And that's something that you want to make sure you understand.
Daddy, what sound?
Okay, I get it. And that's what I want to cover with you guys, all right? So I hope you all are able to copy my homework. I hope you all are able to download a copy of the spreadsheet. If you guys want to copy the spreadsheet, just go to affordablehousing.io, not affordablehousing.com, affordablehousing.io. Go to the Get Deal Analysis tool, and you got to get a copy of the spreadsheet. The same one. I didn't make it from scratch. I got it from a few other folks. I modified, I tweaked it, and I combined a few versions. But this allows me to analyze deals the fastest way possible because my partners already know how I analyze deals. So this is the fastest way for you to get a copy of the spreadsheet. I'm not going to spam you, and I hope you all are able to copy my homework. Analyze the same deal I analyzed today, right? And that's the same deal I analyzed today using the same spreadsheet. Put it on your own YouTube channel, and that's how you build up reps. That's how you build up confidence. Because when someone asks you, hey, why do you think this is a deal? You can say, well, I know this is a deal because I've been looking at deals for the past 383 days. And you can do that because you could just copy my homework because I've been going live for the past 383 days. So I hope you all have an amazing Thursday. I hope you all spend some quality time with your family and friends today because that's what I'm about to do right now. All right. Have an amazing day. I'll see you all tomorrow for day 384. Have a good one, everybody.